Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. I'm going to continue talking about entitlement today, and I'm going to get into a bit of a conspiracy. Now before I do this, obviously conspiracy theories are fun to talk about. Some of them are true, some of them are right on out there. You make up your own mind in this one. I'm just going to paint a picture. I would suggest any video you watch where someone's trying to tell you something, understand, why are they trying to tell you it? Does it benefit them to tell you this? And then I would, if I were you, do your own research, apply your own critical thinking and logic, and decide for yourselves. I would take everything I hear with a grain of salt until you can substantiate what they're saying. Even my stuff, I suggest that right off the top. So, does the government, and I'm talking more about governments in North America, mainly US, but also I think it's starting to happen here in Canada as well. Does the government want people to be entitled? The short answer to that, by the way, is no. I don't think they actually want that. I think they are trying to get something else, but entitled people, or the increase of entitled people, is a side effect of what they're trying to do. So, what do I mean by that? Well, first, let's think about a best case world scenario. Let's say you're in charge of a country. How do you guarantee prosperity for your country in the future? In my opinion, one of the best ways to do that is to give children in your country the best education you can. Now, obviously, there are some limits. You can't give them everything, unfortunately. Funds need to be, gathered and taxes paid and so on and so forth. But I would say give the best, well-rounded education you can. That includes things like teaching about logical, critical thinking and showing how to be rational. Or, let's say, going back to the real world for a second, let's say you're a politician and you don't really care about the future of your country. Let's say you're just more in it for your profit, in it for you to make money. If that is the case, would you really ever want to teach children how to be rational, critical thinkers? I would suggest not. And the reason behind that is because when they grow up and become voting adults, they're going to be like, well, you've been getting away with this. It's not technically illegal, but it sure as hell seems corrupt and moral. And they may see through whatever BS smokescreen you put in their way. Not only that, but because you've taught them to think and to think critically and rationally, they may find a way to stop that corruption in its tracks, basically endangering your ability and your friends' abilities to make money. So why would you, as a politician, want that if you were trying to take advantage of the system? If you were a great human being, of course you would want that, because it makes your country better for future generations, and that can actually be a positive feedback loop where you teach these kids, you make them great as adults, and then they as adults teach their kids and make them even greater, and you could have one of the best countries in the world over time. But is that really what we're seeing today? No, it's not. So instead, try to teach children that their feelings matter, that emotions are the most important thing. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, that feelings don't matter. I'm not saying that feelings aren't important. I would just argue that they are not the most important thing. I believe right now they are teaching that your feelings are more important than facts, and that just is not true. But why would they be teaching this to our children? Simple. Which group, let's say you teach a group of kids critical thinking and logic, and you teach a group of kids that feelings are important and follow your emotions. Which of those two groups is more likely to be manipulated in the long term? Which of those two groups are more likely to be sheep and just listen to whatever they're told and do whatever they're told? We're seeing that happen in the real world right now. A lot of my problem with people right now, especially younger people, is that they've been told that something is right, and so they're arguing for that without knowing any of the argument. For instance, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head, but I'll just make up a made-up one. Let's say on the left, they're saying that, I don't know, cars are bad. I'm just making this up. Cars are bad. Okay, but why are cars bad? No, it doesn't matter. Cars are bad. This is how they're arguing now, because they don't actually know the argument. They're just being told what to argue, and so they're sitting there arguing it. And that's why you get the result of people just trying to yell and scream over people who actually bring facts and logic to the argument. You hear people saying things like, well, no, actually cars improve a person's life by 10%, and they're like, well, I don't feel that way. I don't think that's true. Well, you don't have to feel it, but if it's a fact, it's a fact. It's like, I may feel like the sky is yellow, but the fact is it's not. And so I think that's what they're trying to get to. I think they're trying to create sheep so that they can do what they want to do for them. I'm talking about the politicians now. And they don't necessarily care about the future of the country. They're pillaging now, and they will sacrifice the future because they are making profit now. It's very short-sighted. It's very narrow-minded, but they don't care because they're in it for them. And ask yourself this: who sets the educational curriculum, and who pays for the educational curriculum? And that in and of itself is a little bit of an answer to this, I believe. Now, that being said, I am aware that entitlement is not like a feeling. Entitlement is a belief. Entitlement specifically is a belief that you are inherently deserving of special treatment or privileges. Beliefs, feelings, emotions are all different things. I am well aware of that. When I looked at this myself, what I'll do is I'll challenge myself, okay, but because originally I came into it thinking entitlement was just an emotional response to something. It kind of is, but it isn't, because it does have to do with belief. But there are two types of beliefs. There's a rational belief, and there's an irrational belief. Now, rational beliefs tend to be tentative and flexible, and they are consistent with reality and also based in logic and reason. So, for instance, a rational belief, I'm having trouble coming up with anything on the top of my head. It's been a long day, and I didn't get much sleep last night, so bear with me there. But so let's just go on to a rational belief. A rational belief is the exact opposite of that, essentially. Instead of being tentative and flexible, it's dogmatic, it's set in stone, it's inflexible, it's absolute. It's like black and white thinking. Very few things in this world are black and white. And irrational beliefs are illogical, they're anti-empirical, meaning that they're anti-factual generally, and they're based in emotion. So if you tell people that emotions are important and it's all about what you're feeling and not what reality is, that's when you start to see an increase in irrational beliefs, which entitlement is one of. So that is why I think we are partially seeing it. I don't think the government is intentionally trying to make entitled people. I just, like I said, I think that is a side effect of what the government is trying to do, which is essentially make sheep that will just follow and not question anything they hear. Which actually leads me into the next video that I'm going to do, which is all about people being taught that emotions and feelings are important, why I think that message is either being misinterpreted or people are being led to purposefully misinterpret what that actually means. And so I will talk about that in the next video. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.